One in five adults practices mindfulness. The other four are busy dissociating on TikTok. And yet, we're still tired, we're still anxious, and some of us are crying in the frozen peas aisle. So, does mindfulness actually work, or is it just a fancy way to panic with your eyes closed? Welcome to Self Folk and Co, where we question everything, including whether staring into a candle for 10 minutes counts as therapy. Now, mindfulness has gone full Kardashian, and I mean it's everywhere. Meditation apps, yoga retreats, your weird aunt who swears that turmeric and being present cured her rage issues, right? But for something that is supposed to help us feel better, a lot of us feel like we're failing, or even worse, that it's not working. So let's be real. Mindfulness sounds amazing on paper. Reduced anxiety, better sleep, improved focus, spiritual enlightenment, and even glowing skin. But the reality is that you sit down and you start meditating, and your mind immediately hits shuffle on every traumatic event you've ever experienced. Suddenly, you're crying about that time in fifth grade when you accidentally called your teacher mom. And you start wondering, like, is this working, or am I just quietly losing my mind? Mindfully, of course. So here's what the science has to say. Harvard neuroscientists found that just 8 weeks of mindful practice can change your brain, literally. And I'm talking about new emotional regulation real estate, which sounds good. The amygdala, or amygdala, I'm still not sure about how to pronounce that, which is basically your brain's personal panic gremlin, starts shrinking. And then your prefrontal cortex, which is like your brain's calm project manager that keeps telling you not to text your ex, it starts thickening. A 2019 meta-analysis of over 142 studies have found that mindfulness is just as effective as antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. So it also helps with anxiety and chronic pain, insomnia, high blood pressure, and IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. Which, yes, mindfulness actually helps your angry intestines just chill out a bit. But before we roll out the meditation mats and start burning ethically sourced incense, let's just breathe in the nuance for a bit. Most of these studies show that benefits only happen when people consistently apply these practices for 20 to 45 minutes a day, which is hard when you've got life going on, you've got children, you're worried about capitalism breathing down your neck, and you've got a nervous system held together by oat milk and passive aggressive coping mechanisms. And then some of the hype of mindfulness is driven by corporate wellness culture, where mindfulness is often sold as a productivity hack. Just breathe through your burnout, which is kind of like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound and then scheduling a meeting about it later. Mindfulness is also not always safe for everyone. Folks with complex trauma, for them, being alone with their thoughts and in that silence can crack open stuff you weren't ready to unpack yet, almost like emotional surprise Tupperware from 2006. So yes, mindfulness can help, but only if we stop treating it like a miracle cure and start respecting it for what it actually is. A skill, a practice, a deeply inconvenient, occasionally beautiful, often hellish return to yourself. Now, here's where it gets real. Mindfulness isn't about becoming calm, it's about becoming aware, which, spoiler alert, might make you feel worse before you start feeling better. Because the moment you stop distracting yourself and just sit with all the unprocessed crap you've been dodging, shame, grief, loneliness, and the fact that you never really got closure from your childhood hamster dying all come up for air. Like, I had a moment earlier on today where I wanted to go for a mindful walk in my backyard. And instead of peace, I found a full-blown existential crisis about moss. Like, why is this moss so soft? What is it hiding? Am I hiding something? Am I just emotional moss in shorts and flip-flops? But that's the thing. Mindfulness opens doors to stuff that you've buried under endless scrolling, sarcastic coping, and pretending you're fine. And once the door cracks open, as when healing begins. Not all at once, and definitely not neatly, but quietly, subtly. Sometimes it's even in the middle of a breath that you didn't know you were holding. And every time you come back to yourself, even when it sucks, you're reminding your nervous system that, hey, I'm still here, we made it, let's carry on. So does mindfulness really boost your well-being? Yes, but only if you're not using it as a way to bypass your feelings and to avoid your problems. It's not a shortcut. It's a slow, awkward walk home to yourself. And some days that walk might feel like a rage jog through emotional quicksand. And that's okay. That's part of the process. So let me know in the comments below. What has been your weirdest mindful moment? Did you find enlightenment, or did you end up hate breathing into a throw pillow? And if you like the content I give out on this crappy camera with its cave dwelling sound, hit like and subscribe for some more idiocy. And remember, just because you're spiraling does not mean that you can't do it mindfully. With excellent posture and dramatic exhalation.